Your legacy is your leverage. Use it. Confidence without experience is a liability. And that's why women that are over the age of 50, you are at an advantage.
I am so excited about this episode. I cannot wait to get started. Welcome to Women Leaders on the Move, a Her C-Suite radio podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Benamou, and every week I bring you inspirational stories and ideas that will help you in the second half of your career. I'm also the founder of Her C-Suite, a network for women leaders where we are defining what's next. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. My guest is Wendi Brown. She is a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. She's over 2 decades of distinguished and decorated service. She has served in U.S. Cyber Command and also NATO operations and so much more. And I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. We talk about her experience in the military and after the military, writing our book together, Power of What's Next, Bold Moves by Design. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. So let's get started now. Wendi, I'm so excited to welcome you to Women Leaders on the Move. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited for this chance to have another interview. We had our interview, I think it's been a couple of years, maybe even since our first interview. And now this is such a celebration because we just had a best-selling book together, which is amazing.
I'm so happy about that. And I just emailed people like, look, I'm a best-selling author.
I know, right? We're going to get into all the things because it's so fun. But for our listeners who might have missed our first interview and they don't know you, I don't know how they don't, because you're amazing and you're very well followed on LinkedIn and all the places. Can you talk a little bit about getting to this moment today? Because you've had such an incredible career.
All I can say is, wow. Like, I think about this little chocolate girl growing up in Detroit, Michigan. My mom wanted me to be a teacher. She was a teacher for 38 years. And it was like, go to college and to get a degree and come back and teach in the Detroit public school system. So what ended up happening was that my mom made me sign up for the military so that I could have a full scholarship to go to college. Now I was like, I'm not joining the Army. And I was a daddy's girl. And that was the one time my dad told me, you need to listen to your mother. And my mom put the pen in my hand, and that's how I signed up in the military.
I did not know this story. I don't know how I did not know this story.
It was very intimidating because my parents were such loving parents, but that was the first time I seen the gangster side in them. Like, you're going to sign on this dotted line. Here's the pen. Literally gave me a pen. Sign right where that X is. That's what you need to do. And I just looked at my dad like, aren't you going to save me? Like, Dad, I had the daddy's girl voice. Dad, Dad. And he was like, you need to listen to your mother and sign on a dotted line. So, of course, I signed. And back then, that was before all the technology today. They put it in the mail and they both drove off to mail it. And fortunately, I received the scholarship, a 4-year Army ROTC scholarship. And I was commissioned in the early 90s. And from there on, I just started to receive opportunities that helped take me from the ground floor all the way up to the top. And just retired in 2023 as a lieutenant colonel. I spent my last 8 years being stationed over in Germany. I would have never expected that. Like, I so exceeded my expectations. And with that, I've learned a lot of valuable lessons along the way. For one thing, being over there, I learned the need and the necessity for cyber. So I ended up getting 2 cybersecurity masters. One was for technology, and the other one was for cyber intel. And with the cyber intel, that program is being recognized by NSA as well as Department of Homeland Defense. So I got a lot of experience that I normally would not have had just with national security, international security, definitely protecting the interests of America. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I am so glad my mom bullied me. Now, my mom and dad have since passed, but I did tell my mom before she passed that that was the best decision. That was the best decision she made. So she can transition in peace, saying, my daughter is fine. She will be well taken care of because I bullied her into joining the military as an Army officer. So very grateful for that.
The one thing about that 8 years in Germany that I want our listeners to know is that you didn't just go over there and you're like, I'm going to stay here for 8 years. Can you talk about the intentionality you had?
Exactly. The intention was not 8 years. So I'm in the Army Reserves. So one thing about active duty, you have the anticipation that you're going to be in for 20 years or at least up to 15 years. The main thing you have to do is get promoted. Once you get promoted, you're good for the next 5 or 6 years. I am a reservist. So when I come on active duty orders, my job is only for 365 days. After that, I turn into a pumpkin. That means I have to keep applying for a job every year. So in 2024, I applied for a 1-year tour. Then in 2025, another year tour. And I did that for 8 years. And I would tell you the tricky part about that is that once you start working, you have about 6 or 7 months of rest state. And then you have to look for that next job because it takes about 2 or 3 months to get approved for the next job. So you stay, I don't want to say stressed, but you stay on guard. And that's why I always took any and every opportunity that I could to make sure I was employable. So even if the job didn't require my exact military specialty skill, they will look at my background and go, well, if she has 2 masters in cybersecurity, surely she can do this job. Or even at the time when I only had one, surely she can do the job because we can train her and she'll learn fast. And I did. So I volunteered for extra activities. And then I also, again, went and obtained, 2 masters. So very stressful. But the thing is with being a reservist, the job is only for 1 year and you have to apply again and again. And fortunately, I was picked up. And even once I reached my maximum number of years, or I should say my minimum number of years where I could retire because I received my 20-year letter, I had commanders saying, we want you to stay another year. So I was able to stay 2 more years. At that point, I maxed out. I had to then leave. But even at that point, a commander was like, can you stay another year? So that just shows you the power of making sure you're employable, that even though you're not an exact fit, they look at what are your character traits as far as your work ethics, as far as your skill sets. Then guess what? I could train you for this job and you'll pick it up, in no time. So yeah, so it was quite an accomplishment staying there for 8 years. What didn't anticipate it, but it was like I got another year and I got another year. But it also showed me the power of believing in yourself, the investing in yourself. I can't stress that enough. Invest in yourself, even though you think it may not pay off. It'll pay off. It has happened even with my job today. Retired, was picked up by a defense contracting company. I'm actually on my second one. My resume is so strong because I have always just moved forward. Just take the opportunity. I mean, just take something that, invest in yourself. Just continuously invest in yourself. It adds up. You may not think so at the time, but I would tell you, people respect the fact that you can work full time, plus, get a master's in your spare time, if there is any spare time.
One of the things that I love about that career arc that you had was the intentionality, but you learned early on that when you got invited to a holiday party, I think, and you learned early on the importance of being intentional about what you're going to say. Can you talk about that?
Yes, it's about making sure your natural self is always on. Have it authentic, be transparent. And so, what did happen when I was working at the Pentagon? My commander had a party, a Christmas party, at his house. So I went. I'm the lowest ranking because most people at the Pentagon at the time I was a captain. So most people were either lieutenant colonels or full bird colonels, and I attended. And I am just, being a social butterfly. Now, some of the lieutenant colonels and colonels didn't really appreciate that. They felt I wasn't in my place. You're a captain, but stay quiet. No, I'm Wendi Brown. I have a personality and I'm going to display it. I don't care what rank I am. I'm not going to lessen myself because I am a lower rank. I am still Wendi Brown. And I walk in that. My rank has never defied my confidence. I was confident when I was a cadet in college. So I'm going to be a confident, when I'm a lieutenant colonel. So, anyways, at the time I was a captain, and I'm just talking to this one man there, and I didn't know who he was. I know he wasn't in the military because we didn't work. I never saw him at work. And I am just being the biggest social butterfly. So at some point, my commander goes, I need you to come in the kitchen and talk. And I have to talk to you. And I'm thinking, oh God, did I do something wrong? Because I do talk, you have to make sure you don't say the wrong things. So I walk in the kitchen and there's that other man that I was talking to. Well, come to find out, he was a high level GS employee and he wanted to hire me to come work for him. Now, I didn't know what job it was, and he probably didn't even know what my skill sets were, but we connected. And something in my conversation showed him that this woman is a go-getter. This woman is highly intelligent, confident, high self-esteem. I can train her to do what I need for her to do. To this day, I can't even remember what the job was. And like I said, he didn't have my resume because we were just talking, but I made an impact and received a job offer. So here I am, this captain, and this full board colonel is saying, hey, my friend wants to offer you a job. I'm like, sure. and this information got back, of course, to the other lieutenant colonels and colonels. They were not happy. They were jealous. And then, oh, she was brown nose. No, I wasn't. I didn't even know who I was talking to. I just know how to talk. I know how to have an intelligent conversation on demand. It's natural for me. And I've trained myself to be that way. That's just what my parents had ingrained in me coming up, especially my mother being a teacher. She was pretty much always beyond, always have something to offer to people in your conversation. That's how she didn't just teach from the textbook. She taught how your character should also teach people. So I would tell you from that point on, I was just thinking like my mom was right. Just always be on and have it as your natural personality, not something that you have to fake, not fake it till you make it. She didn't believe in that. I don't believe in it either. She's be your authentic self, be authentically great. Be authentically on demand to have a conversation and be able to conversate with anyone without knowing who they are. That man could have been, I mean, I know he wasn't a janitor, but that man could have been, a cleaning staff. It didn't matter. I show up. I show up regardless of who I'm talking to. And I like to have an enlightening, conversation. And it makes it fun. And obviously it made an impact on him. It was so funny. They were so jealous of me. So needless to say, my days at work were, with some tension, that little tension there.
Well, I like what you said a little bit ago about, you show up and you are your authentic self. And a year ago, it's hard to believe it's been a year. Can you believe this? We had our board retreat. You came to our board retreat.
Yeah, it has been a year. Wow.
It's been a year. I know. It's so fast. So for our listeners, we had a board retreat and we did all these things, these modules to get board ready and have your pitch, which you had everything already, but we helped package the narrative to reach out to people. And I just love who you reached out to. You reached out to a general and had an appointment, I think in 2 weeks, or you were going to follow up, but that like sense of purpose and sense of vision, you just went for it. You never stop. You're just like, you know what? I think that general is going to be the right person. You identified and went for it. I love that about you.
Thank you. It's so funny. Just maybe a week ago, another general I worked for has contacted me on LinkedIn. And I think he's probably seeing all that I'm doing because it's been like since the book. He was like, hey, how you doing? Yes. He's probably like, wait a minute. That's my lieutenant. She's doing bestseller books. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing fine, sir. And I responded back immediately. It's funny. I think I've been in touch with 2 generals since the book has come out that has reached out to me, to additional ones. And it just goes back to, moving forward, living your best life, not looking for permission, and just staying alive, because many people could retire from the military and they just, they just settle and it's just womp womp. No, I'm in my second chapter of my life, the second half of my life, of my career. And I'm living it well, just as I did the first half. So, oh yeah, so that particular gentleman, we've still been in touch. Matter of fact, he has reached out to me as well. We're trying to play catch up because it's the summertime, so family travels and so forth. But yes, so I am still in contact with him, and then two other generals have reached out to me. And just to follow up on that particular general you're talking about, he also recommended me to another general that wants me to write an article for a military magazine. So my thing is, I'm going with this momentum nonstop. People feel your energy. They feel it. They feel it when you're on fire, and they want part of it. People want to be with folks that are on fire. Yes.
I love that. Yes. Well, you emit a light that is so big, and I'm always so excited to be in your light. And when we talked about this book, you shared after, I don't even know that I knew at that time, you were sort of hesitant to do it. And later you shared this idea of keep moving forward. Can you talk about that? Because I think it'll inspire our listeners to know it's that one step. You have to take that one step.
When you had told me about the book, this is when the new administration had come in, jobs were being, compromised, contracts were questioned. I was just in a very uncertain spot. And it put me in a situation I wasn't used to, because I'm used to being in the military. 05, I can call on anybody for any type of favor if I'm in a jam. Well, now I'm a civilian, and now there's no one to call. And now I feel like I'm just waiting or just trying to see what's going on. So I have more uncertainty that I had the type of uncertainty that I wasn't used to. So I really wasn't in a good place. And so when you talked about writing a book, I'm just like, I'm not in a good place to write a book on be all you can be, because I feel like I'm not being that right now. I feel like I'm just like, this. I mean, I'm in the DC area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We got hit very hard as far as jobs and just what was going on. So that was all I could focus about. So write a book about being optimistic on your second half of your career. I just feel like I didn't have it in me. And I was going to turn it down. Of course, you think about it. And then that inner voice, Wendy, you can do this. Yeah, but I don't feel good about my situation to do it. And then these two words, move forward. Just move forward. Just move forward. Just write a little bit. Just write a little bit each day. Just move forward. You'll figure it out. Just move forward. And that's all my inner voice just kept saying to me. So fast forward, when the book is, time, and I was in a much better place, I was like, okay, I actually did well. I actually exceeded my expectations. And then come August, when I'm starting my new job, I'm with a different company now, and I'm starting a new position that I absolutely love. I'm in a fantastic spot now. I'm thinking, I'm so glad I moved forward, because now I'm ready to write the book. Well, it's too late. The book is published. And I would have been angry that I missed out on being, involved in this historical moment, best-selling book. So I just said, that was just a lesson learned. Okay, you don't have your rank anymore to depend on. You're now Wendi. You're not lieutenant colonel, and you don't have high-ranking military officers that you could call on if you're in a jam. You now have no one to call on. You just have to think this thing out. And you just followed that inner voice, move forward, just move forward. And now when I look back at what I did, and I was in an uncertain place, I'm so proud that I can still produce when I'm not feeling my best. That's what that let me know. Wendi, you're still good even when you're not feeling your best, but just move forward, just continue moving forward. And I've exceeded my expectations. I loved it that the first week, or at least the first day, it was #1 in the military books. And talk about move forward. I'm like, wow.
My favorite thing was seeing our pink book You remember the screenshot because I screenshot it and sent to you. So
Yes.
here's our hot pink book, which everyone should go and look at our book on Amazon so you can see the cover. It's hot pink. And then right next to it is like generals that are old men. Okay. And then above that is our hot pink book.
As a hot pink book. Yeah.
And we were number one in military for a while. It wasn't just a couple hours. I mean, we stayed in that spot for a while, which I love. And that is in part because of the chapter you wrote. So tell us about the title.
Yes. So the title, just to back up a little bit of background. So let's just say you're over the age of 45 or 50 or 55, and you're no longer with the company that you were with, and you're trying to figure out, I have all of this knowledge. What am I going to do? So I titled the book, You Are a Profit Powerhouse. And it's about senior leaders from the battlefield that naturally drive competitive edge and profit. Now, you could take that as military or civilian. Battlefield can be an actual battlefield or it could be a corporate battlefield. But what I wrote about was how the wealth of knowledge that women our age have is impeccable. I believe we're the ones that could benefit most from AI and chat GPT because we can look at something and go, that doesn't fit. Or yes, that does fit because we have that life experience that no AI can overrun. And so knowing that you have that real life experience to say, look, this is what happened when I was in that situation, that is priceless to a CEO or C-suite executives or just senior management. So I based my book on why you still need people that have real life experience, and then they can leverage the AI. I'm not against AI. I'm not one of those people that are against AI because I use ChatGPT. I think it's worth it, but I know how to leverage it to enhance me and not replace me. Big difference.
I remember again a year ago, and it's crazy that a year ago, barely people were using AI. And I remember looking at you and I said, how much is this AI? Like, really, do we need to be using it? And you said, oh, it is below the surface. It is coming. There's no point in you being worried about it because it's already here. It's already in motion. There's a lot you don't know. Just, go with it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to learn as much as I can then. And that's what I've done in the last year is like, Wendi said to learn as much as I can, and I'm going to do that. So I love that you shared that and also just encourage us to realize that, there's some things in our control and some things that aren't, but we are in control of what we do in terms of how we respond and how we anticipate, right?
Yes. Yes. And I would tell you now, if you've been using any AI for a certain amount of time, now you're trying to figure out how did I live without it?
Yeah. I mean, all day. I'm like, what do you think about this? What should I do about that? And then I'm like, I don't like that. But it's true, right? It's so true.
Yes. Yes. It really has helped. And even my attempts of working at, I know when it's on, when it's off, it's like, no, I need you to do a little bit more, go to a little bit more to the left. No, you're going too much to the left. Now come back to the center. Because of my work experience, I now dictate to AI to help me. AI is not running me. So that's why I think just being a woman of a particular age, boy, we're the ones that can really benefit the most from AI and enhance it and not just being controlled by it.
So good. What is the biggest learning you had in being a best-selling author? What is the thing that was the biggest aha moment for you?
The biggest aha moment was even when you don't feel great, you are great.
Oh, so good. Well, you are beyond great. I can't wait because in a few weeks, we're going to have the book in our hands. It's coming out October 14th. So, listeners, please plan on October 14th, our launch day. Get the book so you can read Wendi's story. If you got the digital, there's nothing like the hardcover. I got an early release and I got it and I was like, oh, it feels so good to have it in our hands. So, I hope our listeners will get the book, and I can't wait till we do some book signings and all the things. And I'm so glad we got to have this conversation. I could talk to you all day.
Yes.
It's hard to end. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy, for sharing your insights, your expertise, for being so positive, such an incredible leader. I'm so grateful for all the ways that you shine your light out in the world, but also in my world. So thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. You have been wonderful.
Right back at you. Thank you for listening to this conversation today. I hope you are walking away feeling as energized as I do. And I will have all the ways that you can find Wendi, including on LinkedIn and on her personal website, in the show notes. I want to give a shout out to Bobby Carlton and Innovation Women, where I first met Wendi before she came back to the US from Germany, and we became fast friends. She's been an incredible member of her C-suite in so many ways. She just lights up a room when you're around her, and I love being in a conversation with her, and I'm glad you got to hear it today. If you found this conversation helpful, would you share it with a friend or colleague and rate and review the show? It's how people find us. I really appreciate it. Keep shining your light bright. The world needs you.